This episode is a tutorial where I will show you how you can make your own stamp using a transfer technique. I'm Christina. I'm an artist and teacher, and I live in two different worlds. One in Sweden, in a gorgeous location where I work as a bridge master, opening a bridge for sailing boats and motorboats. But most important is the other world, in West Africa, where I live in a beautiful tropical garden with lots of jungle, monkeys, lizards, and beautiful birds of all sizes. Every morning I get to enjoy the wildlife around me while having my breakfast or just a cup of tea in the company of my wonderful dogs that always stay by my side. When I enter my house, I come straight into my art studio. This is where I paint, draw, film, and sometimes host art classes for small groups. In my videos, you get to see a bit of my life, my artistic journey, how I paint, draw, some tips and tricks and thoughts about creativity. So sit back and enjoy, and please subscribe to my channel. Sometimes when I create a stamp, I use a transfer technique that I'm going to show you. And I start off making a drawing on white paper. And you can use a reference photo if you want when you do this. Even if you use a reference photo, when you draw, the lines will not be exactly the same, and you can always tweak something to make it into your unique stamp. Here I'm using a run palm leaf as a motif. I have these run palm leaves in my garden in the Gambia, and when the monkeys are jumping around in the trees, if they land on one of those big leaves, it creates a really loud sound. And I love their look. It's like a sun feather. So I'm going to keep the first drawing as my original, and then here I have like a baking paper or oven paper, and I'm going to use that and kind of trace over my motif, my image, onto this paper, because I've realized that to make this transfer over to the foam sheet, which will be like the real stamping material, then it's a better choice actually to do the transfer from this oven paper. So I'm going to trace my motif here with a mechanical pencil that has a quite good quality. You can also use a normal pencil, but you want it to be at least HB, which is sort of like the normal softness that when you buy a pencil. You want to use like something at least softer than F. So if it's too hard, the pencil, it doesn't leave enough graphite pigment. So this is the thing. If you have HB or B1, B2, B3, B4 maybe, you have very soft graphite, and that will leave the pigment onto this oven paper. So you see, I'm not pressing hard, actually the opposite. I'm just rubbing lightly the pencil back and forth, so I leave a lot of this pigment onto the paper. This is the foam sheet with an adhesive backing paper. So I remove the oven paper from the white paper, and then I place the side where I've been drawing with you have the graphite. I place it face down onto the foam sheet. And here I do the same as before, that I try to keep it flat. So I use some pieces of tape to make sure that I don't mess up the lines, that they are in order there. And then I take a tablespoon and I press with circular motion everywhere where I have been drawing. So all the lines, make sure you press everywhere. And this way you're actually transferring the pigment over to the foam sheet. So you have to do this very meticulously. And then I keep a couple of fingers when I lift the paper, just to make sure that everything has transferred well. Yeah. And if you need to enhance some lines, you can do that. Okay, so now I start to cut out the stamp. And what I do a lot of times is, like, I first cut all the excess paper, or in this case foam sheet, off first, and then I cut the form, because it's a lot easier to do it that way. There's a lot of pointy little tips here, and to get rid of the excess will help a lot. Okay, so now I've cut it out completely, and what you can do is you can mount it onto a glossy cardboard if you want that, but I actually prefer to use transparent plastic. And so I use one of those plastic folders where you keep the paper in, and I cut quite a big piece to fit the stamp on, because I want some space around the stamp, so it's easier to hold it when you use it. So now I remove the adhesive backing paper. So, and now I make sure I press down all these little pointy tips, so everything stays down on the plastic. And this time I use a proper pencil, and you can use HB here. Nothing too sharp, because it can actually rip the foam. So now what I'm doing, I'm drawing really hard into the foam, and when I've drawn the line, the foam stays down. And in this way it creates a crevice, and that is how you see all the lines in a stamp. So when you apply the paint, it's very important to not apply too much paint onto the stamp, because then the paint can kind of seep into the crevices, and then you don't see the lines very well. So there's a technique and a kind of through experience how to do that in a good way. And here, when you run your finger over it, you will feel all the lines. This is an old stamp that I'm gonna use, and I love it, you know, all the leftover paints. It's quite kind of like a little artwork in itself. Here I have a watercolor paper that I've taped down with some masking tape, and I have mixed sap green with a lot of white, so just a little bit of sap green, so it's just like a tint of green. So this will be my first very light layer that I start off with. And before I move on, I will let it sit and dry. And it dries quite quick because this is the first layer straight onto the paper. And now I added a little bit more green into my mix because I want this leaf now to be a little bit darker than the background color. So you see here, oh yeah, it became a little bit darker than I expected. But this is the fun thing. Now I've used this stamp a lot of times, so I know what the result. But when you create a new stamp, it's so nice to see the first result, you know, what the stamp will look like. Sometimes I use white paper and a black ink pad just to try it off before I use it with acrylic paints and all that. So I decided now I'm gonna use maybe 4 leaves with this color. I actually thought that the first leaves that I made they were a little bit too dark. So now I took some more white into the mix and used that like a lighter version of the leaf on top of the darker. And it works actually because the white, titanium white, is a little bit more opaque than the quite transparent green. So you will still see it. And here I add now a completely different color. Orange, bright orange, just to give some nice contrast effect. And here I come in with a real dark sap green. So here I have not mixed it with any white because I wanted to finish off actually with a lot darker leaf. So I put a few here and there and hope that I'm going to be satisfied with this result. And now it's time to pull the masking tape. This is one of the favorite things in the process. It's to see the painting pop out with the white frame that is created by the masking tape. Yeah, so this painting is quite abstract for me because I usually work with a lot more you know, animals or other things, but this is very abstract and I like it. I can use it as a card or a decoration for the wall or just anything. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.